So, welcome, Joanne. Today on National Stress Awareness Day, I am talking to four different people from very different backgrounds and work, etc. So, I wondered if you would like to share a little bit about you, what it is you do, how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, I actually forgot it was National Stress Day,
Okay.
actually. But yeah, so my name's Jo. So I am otherwise known as the Power Queen. So I am a best-selling author and I'm an NLP practitioner. So a life coach type thing, yeah. I'm trained in NLP. Um, so my background is, so I was born on a council estate and I was born with a disability, so I'm partially sighted.
Okay.
And I was 50 this year. So going back that long ago, our doctors, teachers, they were all like, you've got no sight, you're never going to amount to anything, you're never going to achieve anything in life. So my mum believed that because she had no reason to disbelieve a doctor. So
Mm.
that's how I was brought up, that I was never going to achieve anything. And if you're told that enough, then that becomes your reality. You
Yeah.
tend to believe that yourself. So I
Yeah.
never had any positive influence in my life, never ever had anyone to say to me, you can do that or anything like that.
Mm.
I did lead a pretty sheltered childhood as well because where I had poor eyesight, so my mum was very protective over me.
Right.
So yeah, and I grew up with like I've got three sisters, mum, dad, grew up like that. Mum and dad divorced when I was about 12. Um, and yeah, my life was just that. When the school came in, wasn't allowed to go out in the dark, so that was my whole childhood. Then I turned um 16 maybe 15, 16. Then you see your careers advisor, don't you, in school. um and he said to me that I would never have a job, no one would employ me, and at that time I actually wanted to be a nurse.
Really?
Yeah, I wanted to be a nursery nurse, and he said I would never leave one of my kids with you. So yeah, when I was in the infants as well, I'll go back, my history teacher, because where I was partially sighted, I couldn't read, but I couldn't see the lines on the paper. So I would like obviously not write straight. And at 7, my history teacher smacked me around the head with a history book and said that I was rubbish at writing and I'd never amount to anything. So that's what my school was like. There was no, like now you would get, they would have to help you. And there
Mm.
was like lots of things available. There wasn't then.
Mm.
For children, adults there were. It was more for adults when I was younger, but for children there was nothing available.
Mm.
And I don't even recall anybody else even having poor eyesight around me, like my peers. So I was never allowed to do like stuff my peers could do.
Mm.
So I was quite isolated because they would go like swimming and stuff
Mm.
like that, but I was never allowed to.
Oh,
So
right.
yes, so pretty crap childhood really. I mean, obviously there were
Mm.
good parts to it. Like my mum, I was loved and all that, but at the same time that was it. So got to 16. My careers advisor said that no one would employ me. And so I did go to college for 6 months, and I did do a nursery nurse course, but the one I did, you didn't need qualifications for it. So it was like anyone could do it. So it was just really, my mum was on benefits, and it was really just get her to college because otherwise her money stops. Once you're 16, if your child isn't in full-time education, your money stops. So that was it really. It was just obviously let her do something. But I hated it. It wasn't what I wanted to do, and I hated it. So I started suffering with like depression from then on.
Oh, wow.
Um, and looking back, I know why, but at the time I didn't. So looking back, it was because I was never going to have a future.
Mm.
I was never going to have a job. I was never
Mm.
going to drive a car. Look, what was there to live for? I was like,
Mm.
so that was obviously looking back why. But at the
Mm.
time, I didn't realise that. So I did college for 6 months. I didn't want to cry every day, hated it, was depressed all the time. So my dad said to my mum, let her leave and I'll give you the money you'll lose. That keeps you both happy. But my dad was quite toxic. And again, didn't keep me happy because that wasn't the issue.
Mm.
Wasn't the issue. So left, and at 16, I didn't want to be alive anymore. Didn't want to live. So I took an
Oh,
overdose. I went to the shop, bought 100 paracetamol, had no intentions of being alive the next day. I took 100 paracetamol with a can of Coke. I said to my mum, I'm going to bed now, mum, night. And that was it. And I had no plans on seeing her again. But, however, fortunately, like lucky for me, my sister lived at home and my niece was about a couple of months old. She woke up for a bottle during the night and my mum found me. I was really ill. I rushed to hospital, couldn't really speak. I was on a drip for like a week. And I can remember like rolling around the bed saying to the doctor, I feel like I'm dying. He said, you are. He said, paracetamol won't kill you. He said, but it's going to pack up your organs one by one, starting with your liver. He said, but you're not dying on my watch. So I was on a drip for a week, like in a lot of pain. So he reversed it all. And I was obviously lived to tell the tale. But yeah, so that was at 16. Then obviously I saw a psychiatrist. They didn't really know what to do with me, so they were like, let's just send her home with some antidepressants and she'll be fine. But the problem was still there. Antidepressants don't work. It's like a plaster. Like so sent me home, tried to pick my life back up. That was at 16. And at 17, I went out with one of my friends, and I wasn't like an outgoing person. I was very shy, didn't really speak to many people, but I went out with her and I was raped. So that was at 17. So obviously that tore my whole world apart at the time. It was quite brutal. Had a long court case. So he was arrested, but the only time, so my dad was a bit of a narcissist. So the only reason I actually went to court was because my dad was Catholic as well, and if I had to prove that it was what I said it was rape. If I took it back, then obviously it just meant I had sex underage. I wasn't underage, but I had sex with someone. So that was my dad's view on that. So I had to prove to myself and to everybody it was just like for show. However, I'm pretty grateful for that because it made me the strong person that I am today. Made me the strong person. Obviously, at the time, I was a complete mess, completely broken. And he was very well known as well. And he lived on our council estate, about 10 minutes perimeter of me. So I was like a prisoner for 9 months whilst it was going to court. So I was like, I couldn't leave the house because he would try and like attack me. I couldn't like him and his brothers would like one Sunday try to break our door down with like, baseball bats and try to intimidate me for me to take the charges back, drop the charges on him. That's what it was. But I stood my ground. Got to 9 months it took to go to court. Long court case. It was hell because they tried to drop the charges. There wasn't enough evidence for this. Then there wasn't enough evidence for that. So you're just like, you've got no dignity left. You're poked, you're prodded, like trying to get all this evidence together to prove yourself, which is pretty appalling, really. For a victim. But stood my ground, had my day in court. He got found guilty.
Great.
But he got let off. The judge had I think the judge had a thing about, he was looking at life. He was looking at life imprisonment and for what he was charged with. So I live in Portsmouth, so I went to Winchester Crown Court because we couldn't do it in Portsmouth. I couldn't give him life in Portsmouth. And 12 jury all said yes within an hour, guilty, and the judge let him off, gave him a 3-month suspended sentence for a year. So like the sort of police officers who dealt with it, they were literally all in like uproar, like outraged. But I just had a terrible judge. And even when they announced who my judge was, I don't even know his name. I can remember the PC that dealt on my case. She said, "Yeah, we got a lot of work to do." So we got a lot of work to do because they give us a tough one.
So is there anything that you can come back against the judge for that? I mean, if they've made a ruling like that, it seems.
I know, it was craziness. I don't even know why. It was what's the jury for? But that guilty verdict, even though he didn't go to prison, because obviously I had 9 months of terrible like stuff anyway. That guilty, I've never felt so free in my entire life. It was like someone lifted the whole world off my shoulders.
Good.
Like he was well known, and so everyone like just called me names, his friends. And once he got found guilty, even he was shocked because he fell over in the dock. He thought he was going to prison for it, but he never. And I was like, well, he hasn't been to prison for the last 9 months. He's been out, giving me hell. So I've got my guilty verdict. So at that point I just wanted to move on.
Yeah.
Moved on, and it's pretty obviously it's a tough thing to deal with because it left me no self-worth and not liking myself, like hating the world, really angry person. So I fell straight into a relationship at 18 with my kid's dad. He wasn't a bad person, but he was an alcoholic from day one. But I was just like, he don't beat me up like my dad used to my mum, and he don't rape me, so I guess I'm lucky. So that's what I went with. that is literally why we were together. We were together a long time, 18 years. As I said, he wasn't a bad person. We had like 3 kids together, but in the end, I was just like, I need this relationship, like, because it was toxic. It wasn't healthy at all. So 18 years. So I was 36. I left him. He wasn't happy, so he used to like kick my door in a lot, and so I used to have like police around all the time. Then then the council moved me. So it's been a tough it was a tough time from one thing to the other all the time. And then I was left. So I was left like at 36, single parent, 3 kids. One of them has a learning disability. One of them had, the oldest one, she had bulimia at the time, and then I had a little one as well. He was bullied at school, and then I'm still trying. I suffered with depression all that time, on and off. So I'm trying to like keep myself above my head above water all that time as well. We're trying to deal with being a single mum, having obviously financial difficulties because obviously I was on linked benefits at the time. Yeah, so that was it. We split up at 36. The council moved me, and I've again tried to rebuild my life from scratch. I'm getting a bit of an expert at that, rebuilding it all from nothing. I got to 40. I looked in the mirror and I thought, what the hell? I need to do something different. I'm overweight. I'm really unhappy. I don't like myself. I'm a single parent. I've never had a job in my life. What can I do? And I was like, I'm going to join a gym. So I joined the gym. Hired a personal trainer, started doing like weightlifting, and then I suddenly realised that weightlifting, that was like my outlet from life. Like from that, miserable at home, but then I went there and I could be anyone I wanted to be. No one knew me. I just lifted the weights. I felt empowered, felt strong, and I started to get stronger and stronger. And then I entered like powerlifting competitions. One, and then I did like photo shoots and stuff like that. Yeah, and I've been to the gym ever since, and that's what I do first thing in the morning now. So for me, that's like my mental well-being. That's like my mental health. That's how I deal with that. So that was like the first thing in my toolbox that I started like to think actually makes me feel better when I go to the gym. So that became like my addiction, obviously, because that's like your dopamine, like serotonin and all like that. So started doing that, and obviously I still go now. And then last year I went to I've done boxing as well. A couple of years last year I did 2 boxing fights. And again, obviously I can't see and I can't see moving objects. So people did say, how the hell are you going to do that?
Yeah.
I am a little bit daring and I am a bit of adventurous. So I was like, yeah, I can do that, it's fine. So I
How do
learned.
you do that?
Because I've never seen any different. So what I see is normal.
Right.
So I'll just judge. So it's just judgment on my part.
Right.
So
So
yeah.
do you think your other senses are heightened as a result of that, that you can hear more acutely or sense more acutely?
Yeah, so am like empathetic, so I can feel a lot, like I can feel energies and stuff like that. So yeah, so I just use my other senses. I've always like to, I guess. Yeah, so I did that. Started obviously doing like powerlifting and everything, and then 5 years ago, my personal trainer, he sponsored me into my health and wellness business. So 5 years ago, I joined Health and Wellness, a network marketing company. Because what actually happened was, how that come about is because, as I said, I was on like disability benefits, etc. Because they said I would never work. And then 6 years ago, they actually said to me, we're going to send you for a medical now. I said, okay, great, go for a medical. Like if you're on disability money, it was just common practice. And they said, yeah, you're fit for work. I said, amazing. I said, what do you want me to do? What can I do? Because I've got no qualifications. I've got no obviously experience in anything. So I've never done anything apart from looking after my kids, etc. And they were like, they gave me a work coach at the job centre, and he said, I've no idea what you can do. He said, you can't see enough. Like, so I couldn't obviously do factory work. Do you know what I mean? So I can't do anything. And what I did, he said to me, volunteer. I said, amazing. I'll do that. So because I'm a rape survivor, I volunteered on the helpline for rape victims for 2 years because I wanted to give back. So I thought, I'm going to do that. And all I did there was obviously answer the phone, did no computer work and stuff like that. I just answered the phone. When I went back to my next meeting, because they sent me for another medical, because I answered the phone, they stopped my benefits, everything immediately.
And you were
So
doing it on a voluntary basis and not being paid?
yeah, but they said if I, because my they said my eyesight had it does makes no sense. They said my eyesight hadn't changed, which it never will, but my sense my oh, I can't think of the word, but something had changed. And I said, what's that mean? I said, because I've always been able to speak. Speaking's not the issue, it's my eyesight. So yeah, they based that on, I saw a woman, she knew nothing about my condition. She put a hole through a piece of paper, held it up and told me to look through it. And that's what she based that I could go to work on after 45 years.
Wow.
So they sent me a letter in not in large print, and I couldn't even read it. So I rang them and I said, what's it say? So I can't read it. Oh, we're not allowed to tell you. I said,
What?
but you've sent it. We're not allowed to tell you. You need to read it. I said, but you've sent it to someone that can't see. It's not in large print. You know, it's on your screen. You know why I'm going to get receiving the letter. It makes no sense. Makes no sense. So yeah, they stopped my money. She went, yeah. So as of today, look, you'll get no money. I said, but I've got a child of like 10 or whatever it was at the time. She went, yeah. You can appeal, but it takes 8 weeks to appeal. So I've got to go with no money. You can imagine on benefits, there ain't no spare money flying about.
Yeah.
8 weeks. I went, how could, and at the time, I was devastated, crying. I was like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I literally went to Universal Credit that day. It's the only thing I could do, because then you can apply for a payment straight away.
Right.
They'll give you like whatever you're entitled to, they will give you on that day, but then you pay it back.
Right.
Once your claim's gone through. So I was like, I've got no choice, because I've got no food today for my child. So what do I do? So I did that, went straight onto Universal Credit. So I joined network marketing. So it's my only option. I've got no, where you don't need a qualification for it.
Right.
All you need is the passion to change your life. Like you need, do you know what I mean? That's it. Willpower. So I went on, started that, had quite a bit of success in that. But then I almost, was it 4 years ago, maybe? 4 years ago. So my sisters are pretty toxic, they're narcissists. And 4 years ago, I almost killed myself, every one of my sisters. And on that day, I thought, I can't do this anymore. I won't survive in this family. So I left. I left the family, and I've not spoken to them since. Started my life, rebuilt my life completely again from nothing. I left my home. The council moved me again. I moved with no beds, no wardrobes. So I just left it all, and I just moved again. So I'm pretty. I do start like just over. I'm pretty much of a jumper. If it's not working for me, I'm like, I can't do that, because my mental health was at stake. And then I'm trying to bring kids up as well. So I left the family, moved again. So I did network marketing. As I was saying, I was already in the network marketing, but I needed to heal still. I needed to heal. So once I left my family, I needed to heal. So 3 years ago, I went into therapy, and into narc therapy, and that was absolutely life changing for me. It gave me a lot of awareness about myself. Because obviously I blamed myself for a lot. My sisters still trying to put me down. Like they needed me to be depressed, because they needed power over me. If I did well in life, they couldn't. Like they had no power. So it was pretty traumatic. I mean, I had to lose my mum over it. I never spoke to my mum again, and we were close. It wasn't nothing to do with her. It was them. But since she died this year, so that was pretty tough for me as well, because I'd never spoken to her for the last 4 years. But yeah, I went into therapy, did my narc therapy, and then I had 2 lots actually. I came out, and it's really funny because when you're on a healing journey, I can remember getting on a call with Gloria, her name was. I can remember getting on a call with her and telling her like my issues, and her giving me this is what we can do. And I can remember not one thing entered my head what she said. I do not remember. It was in one ear and out the other. All I knew was I need you to do it. I need you to heal. I need you to get better. So I just said, yes, sign me up. So I signed up for 10 sessions. And at the start, I literally thought that this is it. My life's going to be different. My life's going to change. I'm going to be healed. So I did 10 sessions, and it's like healing journey. Don't work like that. But it took me. You still there?
Yes.
Sorry, I lost you.
Okay.
So yeah, and I thought 10 sessions, I'm going to be healed, all going to be fine. And then suddenly realised I was a lot better. It changed my life, don't get me wrong, having them 10 sessions. But then I came out and I suddenly realised I need more. I need more because I'm not healed. And I actually did go back in, had another 10 sessions with her. And then I realised, once I started to realise, you're always healing. It's a journey. It,
Mm.
I was a little bit better. It wasn't like, oh, you're going to be healed overnight.
Mm.
Went to work on myself, worked on myself, looked at my self-worth, my self-esteem, and stuff like that. Yeah, and that really changed my life. And then this year, obviously I decided to write my book. So a lot of women say to me, I couldn't do what you do, or I wish I could do what you do. Because obviously, like, social media is a little bit of a highlight reel, isn't it? Like, you see the good bits, and people see, like, I'll go to the gym and I'll box or whatever. And I thought, I need to write a book. I need to tell everyone, like, it doesn't matter where you come from, what you've been through, you can achieve anything in life.
Yeah.
That is the mission of the book. So I connected with someone on Facebook, Louisa. She was doing a collaboration. So I went and did the collaboration with her, and it changed my life. Obviously, the mission of the book was to obviously help others, and it still is. But little did I know it was going to take me on a journey of my own, and that was going to, like, literally change my life yet again. It was going to, like, so the book came out January of this year, and we went to number one, so best-selling author, knocked Jay Shetty off the top spot. It went to, like, number one in 10 categories. And but as I said, I was in health and wellness, but I've actually quit health and wellness this year because it wasn't serving me, and I've realised it wasn't really what I wanted to do. I'm
Right.
very passionate about health, obviously, but not that what I was doing. It just wasn't serving me. And there was somebody in my business that I was very close to, been close to a long, long time, and they were just toxic and manipulating me. So I wasn't allowed to run my business how I wanted. I wasn't allowed to, like, they would just blank me. Like, if I was a good girl, got all the attention. If I was not wasn't so good and didn't do what they wanted, I got no attention. And that's how it was. And so that played havoc with my, like, my nervous system, my self-esteem. And so I was always in fight or flight mode all the time.
Right.
So yeah, so this year I trained as, and I was going to quit health and wellness back in May, I think it was. And I was in a manifesting group, and I knew there was a few people in there that were coaches, and I commented in there, can someone who's a coach, life coach, send me a course or something? What courses did you do? One of my friends, when I actually did a call in her group as well, she voice noted me. She said, "What about NLP?" And I said, "I don't know what that is." So but I said, there's a girl on my Facebook, I'm sure she does that. Kerry, she had it on NLP in her bio. So I messaged her because I've spoken to her before. Said, what is that? So I'll send you a free video. I went, yeah, go on then. So I watched that. It's the law of attraction. So come on, all it said was thoughts become things. And I was like, oh my God, that's basically the science behind the law of attraction. Because I'm very into the law of attraction. It's how I live my life. It's in my book as well, how that changed my life. So yes, I thought I'm going to do that. It's really hard because obviously it's the language in it. It's like, but yeah, so I jumped on a call because they run a business together. So Kerry does the sales part, Lou does the NLP. Jumped on a call with Lou, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. So done that, signed up for that, did like my 12-week course, qualified in that. So now I'm coaching in that as well. I've got a new client starting this week, and that's doing that NLP, the training. It helps me so much. It helps me be more aware of myself, and it helps me understand how my brain works. So doing it, I actually realised how neurodivergent I am
Right.
as well, because I couldn't even take the information in. And like you said, like with other senses. So I'm quite, although I can't see, I am quite visual. I'm quite visual, like inside, so I
Yeah.
can imagine something. So I'm very good at visualizing. But yeah, so I lost my train of thought.
So you were
Yeah,
saying about being neurodivergent. Is that ADHD or something? Or
yeah, because I actually voice noted Lou, and I went, and I had at the start of it, I had about 2 weeks, and I was really like hyper because I had depression, but I actually did mention to my doctor at one point, I said, I think I'm bipolar. I don't think, because I said, I can be really high, like really like, or low.
Mm.
And he said no, and that was that. But then I had a couple of weeks at the start of the training in NLP, and I was like here, there, and everywhere. I was like literally on a hypo, like I couldn't sleep, all that. And I sort of like looked into it, and I went, you know what? I think I'm ADHD because I can't take this information in. I don't know how my brain can't process it. So I voice note Blue, and I do get very hyper focused on certain things that I'm interested in. So healing, I'm hyper focused on that. NLP training at the gym. If something bores me, it's why I can't even focus on that at all. So I started looking into it, and I voice noted Lou, and I said, Lou, I said, I'm definitely ADHD. I said, I can't take this information in. I said, I'm not worried about being ADHD. I said, but I just need to know, how can I learn?
Yeah.
So we jumped on a call. And I do think I'm very obviously neurodivergent, but Lou said, let's, because obviously this is again is NLP, let's try not to identify as having ADHD. She said, I'm very much like that. She said, so we had a bit of a chat. So I don't like to identify as that now. I don't identify myself as that, but this is how I learn. I just like focus on how I can learn. So what I did was listen to my course when I was at the gym, because that's when I'm focused on the lifting weights, and it goes in. Obviously, NLP's for the subconscious. And Lou said, just try. And I kept getting on the calls every week, and I was like, I can't take it in. I can't remember it. She said, just trust. It's very confusing. The subconscious is like powerful. It is taking the information in, and it is. If you just trust the information's there, it will come to you when you need it. So yeah, so that learned so much about myself. And then I'm actually in therapy now as well. So I qualified for NLP. So I completely quit Herbalife, jumped into doing my coaching, which is where my passion is, helping people. Because a lot of people I obviously have trauma,
right,
and stuff like that. So like attracts like, so they have trauma, or it could be like addiction, or it could be something. But obviously everything we do in life, whether it's business, relationships, everything's down to your subconscious mind. Like, if whatever your life's like outside, if it's finances, whatever, it's down to your subconscious mind, and we can have blocks, and it can be trauma, and stuff came up in my training that I didn't even know was there when I was like being the client for someone. Like, obviously when we did our assessments and stuff, and I was literally like, oh my god, where did that come from? And it is crazy how the subconscious just kicks in. But so I actually went into, so I did that, and that made me really aware of myself. But then I kept having blocks as well, and I knew there was something, but I didn't really know what it was. So I went back into therapy myself. So I'm actually having NLP therapy myself at the moment, which has been amazing, life changing for me. And I also get to be the client, so I know what I'm putting clients through. So and I like to obviously go through it all first as well. So I'm having it with Lou, and she's the one obviously trained me for NLP. And I did a break. I'm 12 months I'm doing, but I did a breakthrough day. So I did like a whole day, and we unpicked a lot of it. And that literally made me realise that the person that was like manipulating me, they're actually a narcissist. But I just couldn't see that because I was still in that environment. And when you're in it, it's tough. It's like looking through fog. You know it's happening, but it's so hard to get out of when you're like in it. And it was like obviously my business, and it was my whole life. Like that's what I was doing. That was my business. So I was like, what do you do? Like, do you have to still just be in fight and flight mode all the time? And it got to the point where I couldn't go to meetings, couldn't be in the same room as this person and stuff. So it was affecting like my business, which I had no income. So affected that. And I just had that with Lou, and I just went, I'm going to quit and go full-time coaching.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So I also do like run a cleaning business as well. So I'm a little bit like jack of all trades.
Oh, wow.
I also do part-time as well. Like, so I'll do a bit of that as well. But yeah, but no, coaching is my passion, and healing is my passion as well.
Fabulous.
Because for the first time in 50 years, my nervous system is calm.
Brilliant.
It's like I'm at calm, I'm at peace, I'm happy in what I'm doing. So yeah,
What a
that's
journey, hey? What a journey.
crazy. And when I reflect on it, it's like it's crazy how far I've come,
Mm,
like what you have been through, and obviously the resilience. And because a lot of people I deal with, they are like have been, like, say, sexually abused or something, anything like that. So yeah, all crazy.
wow.
And you didn't even know my story, to be honest, so it's a bit
No,
strange.
didn't know any of it at all. So yeah, it's quite the eye opener to it. So I just when I interview people and I ask them, I always ask the same question of everybody because I became very unwell when my father died of cancer, and I um wanted to allow for others to express themselves freely, and hopefully you've felt that you've been able to express yourself and your journey freely with this conversation. But also I wanted to ask a question that we ask each other on a regular basis, that um we don't necessarily answer honestly and authentically, because of it's the norm to say, um to just have a standard response to this question. And in this moment, I'm just asking you authentically. I am open to listening to whatever it is that you're in this moment. But how are you, and how are you feeling in this moment?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I mean, I've got lots on at the moment, so I've literally been exhausted lately. So I'll need some self care. But here now, like, obviously telling my story. No, I'm feeling good.
Sorry, I keep coughing.
That's
Um,
all.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, what an amazing story. I have the resilience that you have had to develop over the years as a result of just life coming at you, really. It's beautiful that you are able to put a smile on your face and to keep trucking and keep working and continue, and now to support others through your experiences, which is just wonderful. I wondered if there was anything else that you wanted to share today.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so how can people access you? I know you've given me some details. Is that what's the best way for people to contact you?
So on Facebook, I am Joanne McGee, but
Mhm.
on Instagram, I'm the Power Queen.
Okay,
So that's mainly the two platforms that I use.
okay, brilliant. So they can contact you through that and get in touch if they want to access your services.
Yeah. Or even if they just need a chat, or if they can resonate with anything that I've said, and they're like, "Oh my god, I need to ask her because I'm like that," or whatever. Then
Beautiful.
yeah,
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for coming along today and sharing your story.
thank
And
you.
and
Sorry,
to
my phone
be
fell over.
sorry.
Sorry, my phone fell over. It
No,
went
that's
off on my.
okay. Don't worry. um, yeah, no, thank you for coming along and being so open and honest with your story, and by doing so, it just allows others to be able to speak their truth. And so, thank you for doing that. Yeah, I really appreciate you coming along today.
Yeah. So obviously you did say about sharing. So the only thing for me, I would just say on you saying that is you're allowed to have a voice.
Mm,
But you said speak your truth. You are
yeah.
allowed. I was like, people have just shut down for so long,
Mm,
but you are allowed to have a voice, and you are like, if you've been through anything, there's no guilt there, there's no shame, it's not your fault, and you are allowed to feel how you feel, and you are allowed to speak about it.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming along.
Thank you, Amanda, for having me. Thank
All
you.
right. Take care.